Most important feature of being a watchmaker, rock hard abs, large calves, always use protection. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Peter, the watchmaker and head of professional services here at Wristcheck in Hong Kong. Today we're going to be answering your questions, so let's jump right into it. What is the most difficult part of watchmaking? You would think it was complexity, complications, things like that, but every watchmaker knows you will spend a significant amount of time on your hands and knees.
That's what she said.
And that's the truth. You know, you drop a really small part and the rest of your day is on your hands and knees, and that's the non-glamorous part of watchmaking, but it doesn't matter how good you are. It's gonna fly out of your tweezers. You're gonna make a mistake like every human does, and there you are under your table for potentially 1/3 of your watchmaking career. What is the most important feature of being a watchmaker/expert? I'm not sure I'm a watch expert, but most important feature of being a watchmaker, rock hard abs, large calves, a nice part, a healthy beard. Yeah, I think patience for those long hours where you're on your hands and knees looking for parts, because that does happen. Diligence, I think there's sometimes when you diagnose a watch, you know, you have a problem and it's really hours go by like it's minutes because you're trying to find this problem and it's not making itself really apparent. It could be on your bench for several days. Every watchmaker knows and remembers that watch. All of the stereotypical traits that you would think a watchmaker has. I just happen to be a guy who talks a lot and a watchmaker, which is apparently really uncommon. Will polishing a watch cause the value of a piece to go down? It seems to be extremely taboo, so the answer to the question is yes and no. You just want to make it shiny again, go for it, but it really depends on who you give it to and how they do it, because there are different surface finishes. On most cases there could be 3, 4, 5 surface finishes, and if you don't do it properly, then I would say yes, it does decrease the value of your watch. How often should a watch be serviced? In school, we're taught every 5 to 6 years, but in reality, in real life, people don't want to spend money if they don't have to. So if you are the person that brings it in, you know, between the 3 to 5 year mark, then kudos to you. But the real answer is A, when the watch stops, then there's obviously a problem with it. And B, have someone look at it like myself or a trusted watchmaker, because once your oil dries up, then you can start having some problems with internal wear and tear because there's no oil or grease where there needs to be, so the friction can actually cause some damage to your parts. Will minor rust in links spread if kept dry? The answer is no, but unfortunately if you already have rust there, it could be deeper than surface level, but if you keep it bone dry, it will not spread. But most likely the stainless steel on the case is probably the last thing that will rust. The movement is really what you want to worry about. You really want to look at all the nooks and crannies on your case and bracelet, and definitely have somebody open up that watch to make sure there's no rust inside the watch, because that's a problem you definitely need to address. Is the Tourbillon a flex complication and no real use? Yes and no. The Tourbillon was invented when pocket watches were the main timekeeping device, which are much larger. The parts have much more mass. They were also basically held in one position in your pocket throughout the day. And if that one position was compromised, was several minutes per day off, they wanted to basically find a way to average the rate by moving the escapement in all theoretical positions throughout the day, even if the watch is in one position. So it sounds complicated, but that's why it spins around, because it just averages out every timing fault in all positions into a 60-second period. It's more of a traditional complication because it was something that was invented a long time ago, so it's very interesting. It's obviously very cool to look at. Probably the main reason why most people buy it is the way that it looks. What is your favorite tool? Number 1, always use protection. This is a finger caught, looks like a condom. You can make a small joke now, that's what everybody does. But I see all the time on Instagram what I assume are watchmakers touching movements with their bare fingers. Never do that, please never do that. It leaves finger oils and then over time it will tarnish, and we can't have that, so always use protection. This is the reference 3010, specifically used for tightening the hand tube. So when you're going to set the hands on a watch, which you do every time you service a watch, and if you don't have this tool, it's extremely awkward to tighten the tube with pliers, with a brooch or a ream inside the tube. So the next one are mainspring winders. So there's a mainspring in every mechanical watch. You have to take the mainspring out when servicing, so you can clean the inside of the barrel, then you can properly grease the inside of the barrel if an automatic watch. And these allow you to essentially just wind the mainspring back into the mainspring winder, and then you use it as a punch, and you just punch it into the barrel, and Bob's your uncle. This is a high-res microscope. We do use loupe. It's kind of limited to like 2, 5, maybe 10 times magnifying. This is more like 50 to 100, and it really lets you see something that you couldn't otherwise see with a loupe or with the naked eye. Tweezers, watchmakers use tweezers. Sometimes I'll just like, but yeah, there's a tweezer for everything. Hairspring cutters, number 5s for hairspring manipulation. Number 2 is kind of like picking up small screws. Brass tweezers, you have bronze tweezers, which don't scratch bridges as easily as steel does because it's a softer material. What is your favorite watch based on complications and or movements? Oh man, I have to say that hand-wound chronos are beautiful. Not all of them are equal, but my absolute favorite is called the 13ZN. It's actually a Longines. In terms of aesthetics, I really like the mechanics behind it. It's also my school watch. I went to a Wo-Step school where the 1861 Omega caliber is one of the watches that was on my final exam, so it's kind of near and dear to my heart. Perpetual calendars are highly advanced mechanical calculators. I don't think people know how complicated they are. Very functional on a day-to-day basis. You have the date, the day, the moon phase, the year. You have all the information you need. If I buy a watch from Wristcheck, can I have it fully serviced before it's shipped out? Yes, absolutely. We check every watch. It has to fall within our parameters in terms of condition, timing results before we do ship it out to you. So we do give that 1-year warranty regardless. But if you want some scratches polished out, if you want a full movement service before we ship it out to you, absolutely we can do that. What is it like to work at Wristcheck?
I'm a little bit stressed right now.
Wristcheck is great. Wristcheck is very busy right now. We're a startup company. I love what we do. I love Austin Chu's vision. That's why I came here to Hong Kong. So I met Austin last year. He just radiating his passion for watches and his vision for where this company's going, and I just fell in love with the idea. Yeah, we just want to do something different, so I really believe in the direction that we're headed, and I love the people here. What have I got to study to become a watch engineer? Definitely dabble with CAD. If you can render parts, you can design parts, and then you need some watchmaking knowledge. George Daniels watchmaking, that's a great one, but there's nothing that will ever take place of going to a watchmaking school. People ask me all the time, can you show me how to make a watch? Can I watch you make a watch? It's not something you learn overnight. I mean, I went to a school, I apprenticed for many years. It's a lot of time that I dedicated to becoming a watchmaker. I am 32. I went to watchmaking school when I was 23. That's like 8 or 9 years of being a watchmaker now. So what is a watch that you admire the most and why? It's gonna sound very selfish, but it's my own watch because I've been spending so many years on it. If anyone knows me personally, they know it means a lot to me, and I'm really excited to finish the watch, so stay tuned for the completion, but that's more on a personal note. The question is, why don't you wear a watch? I have a different relationship with watches. I am not a collector. I don't own watches. I don't wear watches. My relationship with watches is designing them, producing them, taking them apart, putting them back together, adjusting them, servicing them. I love everything about watches pretty much except for wearing them. Yes, I think when I finish my own watch, I will probably wear it. Final question, can you teach me how to make a watch? No. So unfortunately not. There are fewer and fewer schools, thus there are fewer and fewer watchmakers. So in my opinion, the more watchmakers, the better, but I encourage you to find a school. So if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you want to see more watchmaking related content from Wristcheck, hit that subscribe button. And otherwise, we'll see you at Wristcheck.